Hey guys, welcome back to Maelstrom Gaming Studios. I'm Craig, and today we have another 2,000 point list review video. This one is going to be a version 3 of the tournament list, backing on the previous video I did, so check it out quickly right there if you want to see the other two versions. I will cover how those lists did and go over my new and improved version list 3 that I will bring to the GT. If that also sounds good, please like and subscribe to stay up to date on our Tyranid content. We're looking to grow this community more, and as the time of filming, we are 2 subscribers short of 600, so please hit that subscribe button and let us get to 600 and beyond. That being said, let's get into the video. So like I said, this is backing on a previous video I made about 2 variants of 2,000 point lists I was play testing for the GT. I will put those, I think, up here. If you want to check that video out for more in-depth, go there and you'll learn about them. Quick things we learned from it. I learned 2 main things. That the way I had my list built out, I wasn't a big fan of the Barb Hero duel. He is great, don't let me say that the wrong way. He did do work. However, the way the rest of my list was structured, I wasn't too key on him, on the Barb Hero duel for my list. That's just the way it is. So I've scrapped the Barb Hero duel. I also learned that High Fleet Jormungandr, while has some good matchups against opponents, the fact that AdMech is so common and they have so much ignores cover means taking Jormungandr, it's not going to work out. Plus other armies have ignores cover as well, so I'm staying away from Jormungandr and I'm going to pure Chronos. I know it's what you got to do to kind of win that Kraken, but this one is pure Chronos. Personally, I like the pure detachments instead of the mix. The mix just seems a little funky to me, but that's, my little personal quirks with it. How the list did do, I'd say they did all right. The second version of the list, so the Scythe and Barbed Hero duel list, will be version 2 in that video. That one did the best, and that one came out, it's going to sound bad, I got 8th place in my RTT out of 12 people. However, I did get 3rd place in terms of overall points. So it was so first game was a pretty quick game, got a lot of points out of him. Second game, I lost by the sheer 1 tactical Marine, survived my Lictor. All I had to do was fail 1 3-up save, and he didn't. That was a 10-point swing in the game and won him the game. He went on to win the tournament, and the guy I lost to by 6 points in the second game went on to get 3rd. It was, I wouldn't say it was bad on the list. More so maybe I just made 1 or 2 tactical errors, and that was the difference of the game. There were some things that I did not like necessarily, and I went in to make this 3rd list, which I have play tested and has done very well. So let's get into that list before I start rambling too much. List version 3, 2,000 points. So same thing, Swarmlord and a Neurothrope with the Resonance Barb. I am dropping the Malanthrope for another Neurothrope. The Malanthrope's -1 to hit bubble, while it was okay, it was more often that I was either out of line of sight or already getting a -1, or they were already getting a -1, whether it was they were heavy weapons and moving, or shooting through dents, or anything like that. The actual bonus that the Neurothrope gave was a lot less than I was expecting in the state of the games. So that being said, I'm switching it to another Neurothrope. Now I can have 1 to babysit the Exocrines, and 1 to go out, support the Zoanthropes, and do some extra psychic support and damage in the midfield. Troop choices. I swapped out the Termagants for Hormagaunts. I found that the Termagants did not much with their shooting. Now, again, I was playing with two 10-man squads, so I wasn't anticipating them to do anything with their shooting. Though, when it came to it, they either shot and maybe killed one model or two models, and then they were tied up in combat, or it came to the point where they were too slow. I was advancing with them, so I was hitting on penalties to shooting, and it just came down to it that I think the Hormagaunts might be a little bit better because I can use them as early to mid-game objective grabbers, and then later on just keep them as screens for my Exocrines and things like, and Hive Guard in the backfield. I have also dropped a unit of Rippers. I found that the second unit of Rippers never did anything important. It was always, all right, I deep struck my Rippers in, I deep struck my Lictors in, I'm getting my gauge off front points, and the next turn comes, okay, I'm deep striking my Rippers in. Well, they just sat there. Maybe there was one turn where they got me one extra point for an engage in all fronts terms of secondaries, but they didn't do me much of any good, and they couldn't do actions or things like that. So I swapped out that Ripper squad for an extra Lictor, so now I'll have the 3 Lictors and only 1 Ripper squad. I think it's okay, and I'm, like I said, I've play tested a little bit and it seems to be doing just fine, so we'll stick with it. Actually, we have to stick with it now because this is the list that has been submitted. Warriors. A lot of people are not liking the Warriors right now because where they were a year ago, not even a year ago, 6 months ago in the meta compared to where they are now, they're just not quite so they haven't changed in power, but everything else has changed. So their viability is going down. I think a cheap unit, I'm going with 8 because of points. A cheap unit of 8 with a hodgepodge of close combat weapons and 1 barb strangler just for a little horde clearing potentially. Again, points reasons, the Warriors are just what they are. They are a great tar pit. They're going to get onto that midfield objective, and they're going to at least hold up and stall the enemy's close combat threats, while my Hive Guard and Zoanthropes and my Swarm Lord, my side hero duel, whoever it is, they get in position to do the real damage. And that's what I'm going with the Warriors, and they have performed to that standard perfectly. I wish Warriors did a little more damage in close combat. I say it's a hodgepodge of weapons. Like I said, it's 1 with the Barb Strangler Scything Talons. It's 3 with dual Scything Talons, 2 with Scything Talons and Lash Whip Bone Sword, and 2 with Scything Talons and a pair of Bone Swords. It's also what I have WYSIWYG available. I mean, I could mix around with some other stuff, but that's the way the Warriors run. The Elites, the Zoanthropes, some people don't like them. They were absolutely clutch in my 3 games I played. The first game, he brought 15 Blade Guard veterans from the Dark Angels. Those Zoanthropes made work of them. Being able to get off a couple super smites, they did get off a super smite, but a couple smites, psychic screams, everything really whittled down those Blade Guard veterans to be not really much of a threat for the rest of the game. Easy for the rest of my army to pick them apart. The other games, even when there was great psychic presence in playing Harlequins, they had some psychers. It was a Harlequin / Eldar list. The Zoanthropes did great. They were more so at that point a tar pit unit. They sat on objective. They absorbed a lot of shooting. They denied psychic powers, and they did damage in themselves. So again, they were perfect. Game number 3, they were more of a tar pit, or game number 2, they were much more a tar pit unit than a damage dealer. However, had I not had the Zoanthropes to be that tar pit unit, it wouldn't have come down to the role of a tactical marine making his armor save to decide the game. It would have been much more of a sweep in their favor, but the Zoanthropes, they're doing work. I'm sticking to them. I love them. And yeah, Hive Guard, I am now having 6 Hive Guard instead of 5. I figured that I'm going all out in Chronos. I should go all out with the Hive Guard because they do benefit so much from being in Chronos. Plus, the ignoring cover, ignoring line of sight, it's hard to go wrong, and sometimes you got to pick off characters if they're in the open, or certain key units. They're great against the Eldar Raiders and other light vehicles, the Sisters, the new Sister units, the war suits, Paragon war suits, I think. They're great at dealing with those as well. Loving the Hive Guard. And like I said earlier, 3 lictors. I played around. I always will deep strike 2, but depending on the game, the number of objectives, and whether it's a hold 1, hold 2, hold more, or a hold 2, hold 3, hold more, I will sometimes keep that 3rd lictor on the board and use like metabolic overdrive on him to give him an 18-inch movement turn 1 to get me on one of those far objectives and to make my opponent pressure him to get to that objective himself. It's worked out. It's just a matter of knowing your opponent and where they can and can't go up against the lictor. Finally, heavy support. The side hero duel, as you can see him accompanying me here, I finally have one painted up, ready in my own color scheme. I finished him. I probably spent a good like 6-7 hours on him over the past 2 days. He was an absolute unit and a weapon, distraction, card effects, all of the above in the 3 games. 2 Exocrines, no dermic symbiosis on these. I know it's dangerous, but with the amount of line of sight blocking terrain on most battlefields, I think the fact that I can use these with the new stratagem to move, fall back, advance, and stand still while using that count to staying still with that stratagem, I can play these guys very cagey and keep angles where they have very strict lines of fire. If someone comes in that line of fire, they're gonna have shots at me, but they have to really pressure certain angles, and then I can keep them hidden, pop them out, shoot, and then, you know, hopefully I do enough damage where the return fire isn't as detrimental to me as it could be. So that's the list. It's Kronos, it's 11 CP. I have side hero duel, I love them. I think this has serious potential. We'll go over like we did last time. I did most of the playstyle and everything, but durability, the Zoanthropes, the Warriors are going to be my key midfield durability blocks. Objective scoring, the Gaunts and Rippers are going to be great for getting, you know, first turn objectives off. The Gaunts for raise the banners, as well as the Lictors for doing either banners or retrieve Octarius data. Depends on the mission. Sometimes going for a raise the banners is the better option. Just depends. Warriors can also do it. I found a few games where using metabolic overdrive on the Warriors turn 1 to get into a midfield objective and then raising banners there was actually pretty advantageous. And my return firepower, I think, is even better than it was in the past games. Hive Guard, yes. 2 Exocrines, if you play them right, without dermic symbiosis, they're still very potent in a Kronos detachment. Had I not been playing in a Kronos detachment, I probably would still go back to the barbed hero duel, but because I'm going full in on Kronos, Exocrines are key. Side hero duel, I mean, he's pretty much a turn 1 charge guarantee there. 12-inch move, and you can kind of keep him within range and with Swarmy and yeet him, and because we are Tyranids, we can still, if we get Onslaught out, advance after Hive Commander. Swarmlord, sometimes your opponent forgets, because maybe Swarmlord's a little small and he often dies to shooting, that he can still be an absolute unit in close combat. So use him wisely, protect him again with terrain, pick his targets carefully, and he'll be good for cleaning up, you know, your opponent's assaulting force. Don't yeet Swarmlord turn 1 or anything. Yeet the side hero duel. Save Swarmlord for a counter threat. Make him utility with the psychic powers. And once your opponent comes in to punch, then you counter punch with Swarmlord. That's what I found to be the most effective way with him. Again, secondaries, we'll talk about these. Bring It Down is now 8 points because I've added an extra monster in there. No Prisoners is now still 9 points. Haven't really changed the rest of the models around. The big thing is Abhor the Witch is now my opponent can get 11 points off of that one. However, in the games I played, my Neurothropes, not one game did I lose both Neurothropes. And only one game did I lose one of the neurothropes. So I think maybe the opponent some opponents will target them a little more quickly. We know AdMech have scary character sniping abilities. You still have a 3-up invuln save to hold you through it. We'll see how that one plays out. I'm okay with Abhor the Witch being 11 points. It might be a trap for my opponent. They'd be, hey, I could get 11 points for killing these characters or these psychers, and I can play very passively and cagey with my neurothropes to really deny them those 6 points. I think it's good because those neurothropes are scary durable if they don't use the right weapons. Objective scoring for myself, retrieve Octarius data, and I didn't put on here, but retrieve Octarius data and raise the banners. I have a ton of units to do that, so I am sitting pretty good there, pretty happy with that. Engage on all fronts, very easy. Between turn 1 charge with the big boy here, not always, but you know, if the moment's right, then that's an easy 2 points on turn 1 for engage on all fronts. And then the rest of the game having the lictors and the rippers pop in, that'll be easy to get 2-3 points the rest of the game. So that's a good one. I found most games, or almost all games, I got at least 10 points on. And then a few games I got up to 14 points for the rest of those ones. Pierce the Veil isn't possible with having an extra neurothrope. I never had a game where I thought it would be useful, but if the right matchups are there, or maybe the Psychic Ritual with an extra neurothrope, if the right matchups are there, then it could be a good one to do. Yeah, so that is in general the list. I've talked about threats before, and the threats aren't really too different. I'm scared of AdMech. I looked at the tournament rosters. Not everyone has declared their faction yet, but from everybody who has, I estimate 1 out of every 5 players is playing some form of Adeptus Mechanicus, which sucks. It might mean that everybody will have to play AdMech once, or the AdMech will just beat themselves up for the rest of the tournament. Who knows? But it's something you gotta deal with. They're scary. If someone brings the 90 Horde, I can't deal with that. I mean, at best, I can pick them apart with my Hive Guard, my Exocrine. They're actually pretty good at dealing with Lucius Hordes. This bad boy can do a lot of damage if I can lock them in combat and suppress as much shooting as possible, as well as using this Flamer, which could do a lot of damage to them. There's potential. I think if the opponent gets too cocky and underestimates this Tyranid list with an AdMech list, then you've got the right tools to clean out AdMech. You gotta be, pulling every string you can. Psychic Denial is, again, something with, now that I have added Psychers, I'm relying more on my psychic damage. There are a few armies where Psychic Denial comes up. Again, I can't tailor my list, but looking at the opponents, there doesn't appear to be many other psychic presences in their armies. A lot of armies have at least, a stratagem to deny. The sisters, they're annoying. We roll a die and we always deny it on a 6. That's really annoying, so it's always a 1 in 6 chance one of my powers is not gonna go off. And then finally, like I've said before, reduce damage by 2, or reduce damage by 1. Death Guard is the big one that has that. Tyranids, a lot of our shooting is damage D3 or damage 2, and then stratagems can make it a little bit better. So reducing damage by 1 really hurts our range output. When testing these lists, I never played a Death Guard player, so I don't know just how detrimental that will be, but I can imagine it's gonna hurt when we go up against that, especially for my shooting. That's it. That is my list. If you guys liked it, try the list out yourself. Let me know how it goes. I think this is consisting of pretty much general, models that people have, and you could try it out. Please let me know if you use this and you do well with it. I will report back on Monday for you guys to give you an overview of how the tournament went. I might be a little tired, I might be a little sore in the throat from talking and playing 40K for a whole weekend straight, but that is what we are committed to doing here, going to a GT. I'll report back, and then finally, if you guys want to see me use this list in a battle report, we are planning out our next battle report right now. We know we wanted to stick to 1500, however, for this special occasion, we might, if enough people want, we could play out the 2000 point list, tournament list. It would most likely be against Necrons. Let us know in the comments. Please like and subscribe for more content like that, and I'll catch you guys next time. Thanks.